Dude, this is hilarious. Anyway, let's watch the actual retardation. Where is it? Here we are. If only they just chilled and smoked some weed together. Yeah. Bro is bricked up remembering it. Dude. Hysteric schizophrenics. Yeah. This is so awesome, though. Let's watch this. This is good.
You have it in front of you, sir.
Here's some like text thing. What does it say? Yeah, X for you. Once again, it's so classless and like tasteless, dude. I can't believe what I just saw. The Nazis told the Jews to get inside the synagogue. Set it on fire. Oh my god. Dude, they even have God and like they don't actually do the... Dude, this is so funny. And set it on fire. They closed the doors and windows with metal bars and then set it on fire. Oh my god. This is like if they had Twitter back then. It's such a funny, tasteless like retardation. Forcing him to watch a Twitter video. What a Twitter Jewish princess. Something, this 10-year-old boy a terrorist? Pray to may God save him or something like that. Isn't that a clip from Schindler's List? What a freak show, yeah. Dude, imagine having to sit watch this, dude. This is so funny. Moshi Zucchini. When the Nazis banned these posts? No, this is, you know, if we run Twitter correctly, it'll be like this. Oh, Elon Musk. And that's the thing too, is I don't think, because Elon Musk is kind of annoying and autistic, but he is also like very prideful. And he is very specific and has a very specific point of view. Either he's secretly Jewish, which I don't really believe, or he's playing these people, and I honestly do think he is. And I've been anti Elon Musk, and I'm not like a big pro Elon Musk person, but I can't believe that he takes this seriously. I really don't. Somebody from South Africa doesn't. There's no way he takes this seriously. There's absolutely no way he thinks this is legit. If we had X in 1939, how many lives could have been saved?
It could have saved millions of lives.
Yeah, if we had Twitter back in 1939, how many lives? How many lives would we have saved? 6 million, probably.
I remember you saying AI is potentially the most pressing risk to humans. I must tell you that there is a clear and present danger.
This is when I was watching it. I watched a little more past this, but this right here, this line, let me go to the beginning, was what made me say I need to watch this on stream. It's so funny.
The most pressing risk to humans.
You gotta listen to this.
I must tell you that there is a clear and present danger of a different AI. This is anti-Semitic incitement. This is why I'm here with us.
The real AI is anti-Semitic incitement. That's the real AI. Finally a smart person who's reaching Elon Musk on an individual level. Dude, it's so funny.
I tell you that there is a clear and present danger of a different AI. This is anti-Semitic incitement. This is why I really wanted you to be here with us, Elon, because this AI
Dude. The original AI was the Nazis.
ended up fueling the ovens at Auschwitz.
Dude, listen to this.
Because this AI ended up fueling the ovens at Auschwitz.
Well, that's what it was. They figured it out. Oh, dude, these people are so funny. Oh.
Empowering the trains and took the cattle trucks of Jews to be murdered. Ben, thank you very much for coming too. Your work needs little introduction. A passionate conservative,
The real AI,
media provider,
anti-Semitic.
a devoted father and husband.
Paleolexode sent
advocate-
Yo, thank you.
0927 Sol. Hello Paul, it seems to me that this is more of a certification like Jew approval more than anything like getting permission to drive.
Yeah, I think it's just playing along because it doesn't matter. These people are done. I think they've made the determination. I think Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and the PayPal Mafia people, I think they've made the determination that Jews, the ones that are like practicing and not just atheists, are irrelevant. But they have, going into the future, they're irrelevant, but they have a lot of power now. And it's better to just like play along with them as you build stuff and prevent them from stopping stuff from being built, but also don't don't really push back against them, but also kind of encourage people who are pushing back against them. I think they've made the determination, and I think they're correct in this, that these people are irrelevant, and to kind of set themselves up as the middle ground between insane Jews and right-wing people. I think that's kind of the determination they've made, and I don't think they're necessarily wrong on that.
Values.
Thank you, though.
Staunch defender of Israel, and above all, a proud Jew. Millions follow you, watch you, listen to you, and learn from you. Kol hakavod to you. And with that said, I now hand over to you, Ben, for your discussion. Thank you very much.
I apologize for the premature.
Zionists have power now, but will lose in the future. Yeah, they have echoes of power. I think they've lost their power with technology. Like once the internet was created, they kind of lost their power, and we're just getting weaker and weaker echoes of it. And it is like, this is a pretty big thing, right? The richest man in the world doing this, in terms of. But you look at the views. How many views? 4,000 views. Did he discuss secret? 4,000 views. The third comment. Did he discuss secret tunnels with child chair and mattresses too in New York City under synagogue, or was it strictly censored not to talk about it for some weirdly wicked reasons? No free speech on X. Just try confronting one of his rich friends for lying. Elon Musk should go to Palestine, Gaza too. Traitor. I don't really think this is just kind of an echo, and it's just a loud noise, and you don't want to hurt your ears with the loud noise. But I kind of think that's what's going on here.
But yeah, Elon, obviously, we walked Auschwitz. I said I hadn't been there before either.
I love it. It's like a verb. We've walked Auschwitz. It's called Auschwitz. Auschwitz to you. To me, a pure Aryan Auschwitz. But to you, Auschwitz.
To get your thoughts on what it was like to walk Auschwitz and Birkenau today.
What was it like? And this is also all these answers are all like, you're retarded, without saying you're retarded. It's all like, dude, you are absolutely retarded.
Well, it was incredibly moving and deeply sad and tragic that humans could do this to other humans. It's good to have the memorial, as the plaque says, so that it never happens again. No, I mean, I'm a student of history, so I'd seen the pictures, I'd seen the videos, but it's not quite. It hits you much more in the heart when you see it in person. I'm still absorbing the magnitude of the tragedy that I witnessed, or the place where the tragedy occurred. I think it'll take a few days to sink in, frankly.
It's just a non-answer. It's like literally like, it'll take me a few days to really think about this.
And as was mentioned, if there'd been social media,
me at a stranger's funeral. I'm not sure if they really died. Me at a stranger's funeral when I think they still might be alive.
to hide. If there's been freedom of speech as well, you know. So
Yeah, let's put a pin in it and let's talk about it. Let's circle back to this. Let's circle back to this next quarter. We'll put a pin in it for now. We had lots to think about. Goodbye.
one of the first things the Nazis did when they came in is they shut down all the press and any means of conveying information. So, and it's worth noting in the United States, the First Amendment in the United States was freedom of speech, because the people that came to the United States from other countries did not have freedom of speech. That if they had said something, they could be imprisoned or killed. And that's why...
And the funniest thing about this, too, where he's saying, like, yeah, I really think the message of Auschwitz is that I want freedom of speech. The message of Auschwitz, the message of the Holocaust, is that I'm not going to censor Nazis on Twitter. And I think it's really important that we don't censor anti-Semitism because of the Holocaust.
The first correction to the Constitution was the ability to say what you want to say and not be thrown in prison or killed.
Yeah, Elon is obviously the CEO of X, which is the largest news service on the internet, the place where a huge number of people, including me, get the news. You've been committed since you took over to a much broader perception of free speech on the outlet, and that's led to a lot of criticisms about suggestions of rising anti-Semitism.
That's so people really are criticizing
as well. I can say for my own part that the broadening.
I love the way they
speech
suck
on
up
Twitter,
to him.
I think has been, and on X, has been an excellent thing. One of the things that I was able to do, for example, in the aftermath of October 7th, was actually put out full footage and pictures of what exactly was happening.
You can see what's really happening,
so people
and the true horror. The true horror is something people need to be able to see if they want to see it.
And the community notes feature has allowed for people to, even when things that are false are put up that used to maybe pass in real time, now you can correct.
He's like Ben Shapiro, kill yourself.
That. How do you balance the necessity for free speech with all these critiques about, what is hate speech, what is anti-Semitism, and how do you balance that?
Well, the general bias of the platform is in favor of free speech. And I think at the end of the day, free speech wins in that if somebody says...
All right, it's the 10-minute timeout. Too much. Too much. Any calls for death of people, that's too much. Murder is bad, okay?
On our platform, you can then reply to it with the correction. And then I'm a huge fan of community notes. We've put maximum resources and attention behind community notes. So if somebody tries to push a falsehood like Holocaust denial or something like that, they can immediately be corrected. And you can't get rid of the tag. It's like stuck on you.
That's true, and that's why we don't want to remove the Holocaust denial, because we can prove it happened. And so let's keep the Holocaust denial on the site, and so we can have the community notes fix the problems.
So. I think it's, and the overarching goal for the X platform is to be the best source of truth in the world. So now, one can. It's difficult to get to perfect truth, and sometimes people have different interpretations of truth. But one can always aspire to be as accurate as possible and to minimize the error between what is being said and reality. So, relentless pursuit of the truth is the goal with X, and allowing people to say what they want to say, even if it's controversial, provided.
Do community notes, Yaron Brook, do community notes disputing Israeli propaganda get accepted on X? Yes, they do. Now, obviously, it's a different situation. He's not an equal playing field, but a lot of the times, Jewish claims, IDF claims. Libs of TikTok claims, Qasim Amiru claims, all the types of Jewish claims, they get corrected.
I think that's the right thing to do.
And setting the new standard for the town square, as I say, has allowed for more speech and more availability of information than ever before, certainly on the platform. And you recently didn't just go here. Obviously, after October 7th, you went to Israel and you saw the wages of horrific anti-Semitism in the various kibbutzim and moshavim.
I saw all the videos. I saw a lot of video. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was shocking to see. I think maybe the most shocking thing was to see the delight in killing innocent people. Like,
and this is when I thought about this when I heard it. How is there video of delight? Because just say you have a GoPro, right, and you shoot somebody in the head, you don't see your face unless you have like a GoPro set up to also get your face. So it seems kind of odd, you know. The context, obviously, we're not allowed to see what's going on. We're not allowed to see, you know, the video, but it seems kind of odd to me. How can you see delight if you're filming yourself killing somebody? How is your face? You know, that's kind of strange. Seems kind of odd.
Delight in killing kids and defenseless women and men, and there was no remorse. Quite the opposite. I mean, that requires a level of indoctrination that is extremely intense. So I think that to solve that, you have to address the source of the indoctrination. Because no one should ever be glad about killing some child.
Yeah, and this one right here, this line, all you can think of when he says this is no one should ever be glad about killing some child. It just reminds you of Gaza. I honestly, and this is giving, you know, I'm obviously, I don't really care either way. I would love for it to be the other way too. But I really honestly think that's like a Gaza thing. That sounds like a Gaza thing. You know, it really does.
Killing some child.
It just seems like that, you know.
To solve that, you have to address the source of the indoctrination. Because no one should ever be glad about killing some child.
I know enormous number of Jews, myself included.
Yeah, and even the way he's looking at him, that's not like a "I'm your friend" look. That's like I'm saying this knowing, you know, I know what I'm saying. You probably know what I'm saying. It is like subtext. It is like two women speaking. Yeah, it really does seem like he's trolling, you know. And I could just be wrong. I could be coping, even though that wouldn't even be the right word because I don't really care. I don't have investment in this. I really do think this is kind of a dark triad troll.
Are very moved that you continue to wear the necklace in remembrance of the hostages. So I want to thank you for that, obviously. Because
it's such a funny move, dude. If I got given a necklace, I'll wear a necklace. If somebody gives me a name tag of all the IDF, all the kids captured, I'll do that to show my support for Israel. And then that way I can do whatever I want. Wear a dumb, retarded necklace and be like, yeah, actually, Jews are evil. Oh, but I have a necklace.
In the profile of the fact there's still dozens of men, women, and children.
Many. I checked before I came. Still many hostages. I hope they're alive. I hope they come back.
Yeah, and this is like, it's such a like empty thing too, where he's like, I hope they're alive. I hope they come back. I hope they're alive. Which is once again, the big and well-known fact that everybody knows now is that Israel kills their own hostages. Israel kills, if Jewish people get captured, they'll kill them. And all the stories of Jews, of like the bombings and stuff, and the Gaza survivors saying that the IDF bombings have killed survivors or hostages. You know, it just seems like, it's just, the entire thing seems like a, you know, I'm not taking it seriously thing. Yeah, the Hannibal Directive.
So let's talk about, you know, the uptick in anti-Semitism more broadly. One of the things that's been hard to watch as a Jew, but also just as an American and a Westerner, has been the radical upsurge in anti-Semitic activity, just generally anti-Semitic sentiment, appallingly, after October 7th. It's been astonishing, actually.
Yes, and I must admit to being somewhat, frankly, naive about this. In the circles that I move, I see almost no anti-Semitism. And
this is funny too, because you say like, I don't really see this, and all my friends are Jewish, and I don't see any of this. I really don't actually believe you. This seems kind of fake.
You know, there's this old joke. I've got like this one Jewish friend. No, I have like 2/3 of my friends are Jewish. Okay, I have twice as many Jewish friends as non-Jewish friends. I'm like Jewish by association. I'm aspirationally Jewish. So I don't. you know, it's,
Yeah, I honestly, it does feel like an insane amount of gaslighting. And obviously, it's like the flattery that always works. You can easily do that 100% of the time. It does seem to me as if it's a bunch of gaslighting and mocking and kind of trolling, honestly. It does seem like a big troll to me.
what are people talking about with this anti-Semitism? 'Cause I never hear it when at dinner conversations. It's like an absurdity, you know, at least in my friend circles. But when, you know, looking at the pro.
Yeah, I'm the best Jew. I'm the greatest Jew. I'm the king of Israel. I might be the Mosaic. I might be the Antichrist.
Vast numbers that took place in almost every major city in the West blew my mind. And including on the elite college campuses that are supposed to be, you know, if you're an elite college campus, you're supposed to be enlightened. You're not supposed to be fostering hate.
And he's just funny, and Ben Shapiro's like, yeah, it's serious, very serious.
And yet you had these pro-Hamas demonstrations at Harvard, you know, Yale, including at Penn. I went to UPenn, at Penn, and I was like, this is unbelievable.
I mean, there's a poll recently from Harvard-Harris showing that some 67% of people aged 18 to 24 said that the Jews were an oppressor class, which, you know, in America, Jews represent approximately 7 million Jews in the United States out of 330 million.
The nervous water drink. The nervous tick of drinking water.
Americans, tiny percentage of the population. But that ideology, that the Jews are an oppressor class, matches up very nicely and very closely with what is a conspiracy theory. At root, anti-Semitism is a conspiracy theory, and it's a conspiracy theory about power. And if you read Nazi literature, the Nazis literally promoted the idea that Jews were, of course, this small caste of people who were running all of the major industries, who were standing behind all world power. Hitler's suggestion is that it was world Jewry that stood behind Germany's loss in World War I, and then the Allies' unwillingness to make a deal with Germany prior to World War II. And, you know, that theory of power and group identity is really ugly, and we see echoes of it today. I mean, the diversity, equity, and inclusion ideology that basically suggests that all of society is a vast pyramid of group identity, and that at the very top are the people who are successful, and that those people are exploiting everybody else. And we can tell who's successful.
That's how it works, dude. Organisms exploit other organisms. Trees take nutrients out of the ground. You know, this isn't, you know, you put one tree, you put a vine on a tree, right? The vine isn't like more powerful than the tree, but it'll suck the life out of the tree because it's taking all the nutrients. This is how it works. You know, a fox kills a chicken. This isn't some crazy thing. You know, this isn't a crazy, bizarre idea. This is basic, like, physics. Everything is exploiting everything else. We take electricity, we burn coal, burn lots of coal, right? And as a result, the environment gets worse. All the coal burning results in a worse environment for everybody.
By their group identity, not by their level of success, by their group identity.
Yes.
That matches up incredibly. It syncs up almost a Venn diagram circle with anti-Semitism.
Absolutely. The diversity and actually inclusion. I mean, you should always be wary of any.
And we burn local.
Sounds like it could come out of a George Orwell book. Okay. That's never a good sign. Because it sounds like, sure, diversity, equity, inclusion, these all sound like nice words. But what it really means is discrimination on the basis of race, sex, and sexual orientation, and it's against merit, and thus I think is fundamentally anti-Semitic. So, you know, I think the whole, all of the sort of all of the riots that were in the major cities and college campuses, I think was a shocking wake-up call to, I think any sort of civilization or civil-minded person, really. Yeah. It was quite a shock.
Now, the crossover between, you know, some of these rallies on college campuses in favor of Hamas. I mean, they unite the weirdest coalitions maybe in human history. You'll see LGBTQ flags in favor of Hamas, where, of course, if an LGBTQ person were to be actually in the Gaza Strip, they would no longer be in the Gaza Strip, they would be dead.
Yes, exactly.
And that coalition is...
That's like seriously out of touch.
Yeah.
But
it isn't. But it only isn't out of touch in the sense that there is a coalitional idea here that basically power structures must be torn down at all costs, and if that means allying with people who hate me, then I'll ally with people who hate me. And the fact that that's grown in fervor since October 7th really is, as I said to me on a personal level, quite shocking. What do you make of the future of a West if the West continues to embrace that idea?
Well, I think we really need to stop this principle that the weaker, normally weaker party is always right. This is simply not true.
I love the thing, dude, talking about the Holocaust. Once again, it's just, I don't know how much of it is like, I'm not taking you seriously and I'm just lying to you and I'm having fun. And how much of it is that I don't want to say anything to get in trouble. But it is hilarious, this part where he's basically saying, like, we got to stop thinking about the weaker people being, like, always right. And it's like in the context of the Holocaust. It's just hilarious.
Or in quotes, oppressed or the weaker party, it doesn't mean you're right. Because if some of those, weaker groups want to annihilate you, that does not make them good. We have to get rid of the rule that if you're weaker, you're automatically good. That's obviously makes no sense. It often makes sense where it's like, okay, you don't want to beat up on someone smaller and weaker than you. But if that smaller group wants to kill you, they're bad.
Yeah, if that small group in the population wants to kill you, they're a bad group, and you should kill them, right? Right, Ben? You'd agree, Ben. If there's a smaller group that's evil and wants to hurt you, you have every right to kill them.
I'm a big believer in moral absolutism, not moral relativism. There's good and bad in the absolute, and you judge any group or individual against absolute moral standards, not whether they're the so-called oppressed or oppressor, just on absolute moral terms. Are they doing good things? Do they want to murder innocent people? That's bad.
Once again, just the Gaza thing.
Who they are.
Whoever they are. That's just bad. If they're murdering innocent people, that's bad. Right, Ben?
You would think, but the pseudo-sophisticates on college campus seem to think differently. And so I wanted to get your take on why you think...
I love pseudo-sophisticates. That's like a word that's like you call somebody else that. But it means you are. Because like anybody who's a pseudo-sophisticate is being like a tryhard, trying to be smart. It's such a funny phrase. The pseudo-sophisticates. It's like, dude, that's you. Like if you say that, by definition, you're a pseudo-sophisticate.
This is so prevalent on college campuses. What do you think the future of the universities in the United States looks like, given the fact that entire universities appear to have been corrupted by moral relativism and this sort of perverse ideology? Do you think that a wave of change is coming to the universities? Do you think that there's going to be direct hiring out of high school? What is the solution for universities in the United States as well as abroad?
I think we need to return to where things were, or mostly were, which is a focus on merit, and it doesn't matter whether you're a man, woman, what race you are, what beliefs you have. What matters is, how good are you at your job, or what are your skills? You could be a three-legged green Martian.
Elon is Baphomet as Halloween 2 years ago because obviously Jewish. No, sometimes it's just fun to cosplay as the bad guy, dude. And when you're autistic and you play Diablo, it could be funny. It's like that line in Jay-Z where he's talking about, they're saying he's a Satanist, but he's driving away in a Diablo. That's just funny. It's just funny when people are like calling you whatever.
There's a kimono and drinks yak's milk. Who cares? It doesn't matter. What matters is like how good is your work. That's it. That's that's the least sort of racist, sexist you can be. Is just care about the work that somebody does and not anything else. That's what the focus needs to be, to return to.
The upside down cross and back to please the Jews. Yeah, I don't think he's not like right wing. I honestly do think there's this third group that people aren't talking about, which is you have the Anglos, you have the Jews. That's like one power block. You have, brown people. That's not really a power block, but that's kind of a pawn in groups, with groups. I think it's like Department of Homeland Security, Department of Defense, and I think it's the PayPal mafia and these weird like futurist technocrats. That I honestly think that's a third group that kind of see themselves as ascendant, and I don't think they're wrong. I think they're kind of inserting themselves into these situations, and then once they get inserted into the situation, then they take over the situation.
Yeah, it seems as though you mentioned earlier the sort of problems of attacks on the meritocracy, and one of the claims is that there's no real meritocracy. There's a pseudo meritocracy, that basically all these institutions are run for the benefit of those who run the institution.
Isn't he one of those transhumanist weirdos? Yeah, I think he's a transhumanist technocrat, which I like a lot more than the Anglos or Jews. Honestly, I'm a lot more of a technocrat nerd person than a political person, honestly. I'm more interested in technology and cool AI stuff than racism, to be honest. There's some overlap there, but I don't think that's really in line with these people who are like insane cultists who are racial supremacists. Because you think of Elon Musk, you think of him as a transhumanist, right? Transhumanism is not really compatible with Judaism. It really is not. People say it is, and a lot of it is based, like, Judaism will be, we're outside the system. So there's some overlap there. But transhumanism is not that Jews are going to become cyborgs. Transhumanism is that everybody who's, capable is going to transcend, which is very antithetical to Jewishness, which is that we're special. God chose us. Whereas transhumanism is like, we can become God, and that's very different than the Jewish, at least the surface level of Jewishness. And so there is stuff that is simpatico, there is stuff that is very similar, and there's a lot of overlap, but there are very strong differences in that the belief of Jews is blood and soil, or not soil, just blood. They blood and feces, not blood and soil. There really is just them, they're the secret. Whereas technocracy and transhumanism is technology is the secret and knowledge is the secret, and empowering yourself with knowledge is kind of like, knowledge that other people aren't getting that they could get makes you more powerful, makes you better than the people. Whereas, Judaism, yes, there is a lot of overlap, and a lot of transhumanists are Jewish, but it is not, you can't really be a religious Jew and be a transhumanist. Like Ben Shapiro's vision for the future, with greater Israel and Jews running everything and the Antichrist coming back and ruling the earth, is not compatible with Elon Musk's vision of, living forever and, sex robots and whatever.
And
not to say they're right, not to say, Elon Musk is right, but it is very different. It is a different flavor of worldview.
Like there is some truth to the idea that institutions have lost credibility with the people, particularly in the West. And in the backlash to that, I think that there's now, sort of an idea that if we do away with all institutions and all limits on moral behavior, then that somehow is better. But there needs to be a recapturing of the institutions, or at least a rebuilding in place of those institutions, new things. And that's something, obviously, that you're very focused on, not only with X, but your other companies, is building new things, innovation, trying to create our way out of the problems that we've created for ourselves.
Yeah, I think generally people should always be wary that they may have either consciously or perhaps mostly subconsciously internalized the notion of a zero-sum game or a fixed pie. And if you internalize that everything's zero-sum, meaning like in order for me to get ahead, someone else has to not get ahead, or for me to have stuff, someone else must not have stuff.
Gaza or Israel.
If you have that axiomatic flaw, then then what it needs to be done is to fix that axiomatic flaw, because it is false. It's not a zero-sum game. We can absolutely grow and have grown, and the evidence is overwhelming that we have grown.
Life is a zero-sum game. Yeah, I know.
Of goods and services. We have many things today that we did not have in the past. We're far more prosperous.
I'm old.
It's far more prosperous
Oh,
today
my
than
arm.
it was at
I need
the
to
time.
die. I'm old. Put me in the ground.
It wasn't that long ago where, we'd count a good year as one where, well, the bubonic plague wasn't that bad, only killed 10%. Not that many people starved through the winter. We only lost, 5% of our population due to raids from other tribes. Basically life used to be very rough in the old days. If they could see us now, they'd be like, what are you guys complaining about?
Yeah, this is another troll where it's like, you stop bitching. Stop bitching and moaning. Your life is easy. Can you shut the fuck up? Life is easy. Stop whining about mean words on Twitter. That's really what this is. It's like, like people used to die of plagues and villages being raided. Just shut up. Stop bitching. All right. Stop bitching. You guys are annoying. That's essentially what he's saying. Didn't the Jews purposely spread the bubonic plague? Yeah.
This is amazing. Not having to worry about food for. We were food constrained for probably the last 100,000 years until recently. So, really the present day future is amazing compared to the past. And anyone who doesn't think it's amazing is not a good student of history.
Yeah. He's like doing this at some Jewish conference in Poland after going to a Holocaust museum. He's basically like, anybody who thinks we have it bad now is retarded.
So I think we live in the most interesting of times and probably the best of times.
One of the things that I would hope that, and I think you're part of this, is a coalition of meritocrats standing up for the meritocracy is going to be deeply necessary in a future where trust has been fragmented with so many institutions. We're going to have to stand up and loudly say that merit still exists and that merit is individually based.
That's the thing, is we don't have to. We don't have to do that. All we have to do is just do it. Merit speaks for itself. Merit speaks for itself, and a lack of merit speaks for itself. And the only reason you speak about it is to get more people on your side who are like valuable. It's not to change the world. When you talk about stuff, it's not to change the world. You talk about stuff so you can see who's vibing on the same wavelength, who has that same vibe, and then you can work with them on stuff. It's not actually talking. Doesn't actually do stuff. Talking might make you aware of people who are also of your opinion, and then you can work with them. You can link up, drop a collab, that sort of stuff.
Not based on innate characteristics of some sort. So you mentioned earlier, that you're aspirationally Jewish, that you surround yourself with, that you're surrounded by so many Jews. So are you part of the Jewish conspiracy? What exactly is the?
Maybe.
And once again, he doesn't say there's no Jewish conspiracy. He doesn't say, and this is obviously a joke. He is joking. But he's not saying that's people are retarded. He's just saying maybe as like a joke. You're treating it like what it, with the amount of respect it deserves, which is just, are you retarded?
That'll please the haters online.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
No, I grew up around a lot of Jewish people. I went to Hebrew preschool, Rachel Spiro in South Africa.
Once again, this whole thing that he says and his whole life experience, being rich, doing business deals, being in the media, growing up in South Africa, that sort of stuff, going to Hebrew school. Either he is Jewish, which I don't think so, just judging if you look at his ears, or he's just playing a game here.
My name is very Jewish.
I will tell you that for the past 10 years, people have assumed in my community that you were Jewish until I informed them otherwise.
Yeah.
Elon is a pretty Jewish name.
He's super Jewish.
Yeah.
Diamond Lofty connected. Yeah, it's like even the whatever his parents did or grandparents did in like the cobalt mines or whatever. He's not retarded. I don't think he likes these people. Has he ever dated a Jewish woman? That's a good question. Justine, no. Tallulah, English. Amber Heard, no. Grimes, no. Siobhan Zills, probably, right? Isn't that's a Jewish lady, right? A Canadian. Early life, Ontario. Jewish, yeah. All right, so he has dated a... Dude, he dated a half Indian, half Jew. That's wild. That's actually wild. Good for him. 11 kids, that's crazy.
And I went to Israel when I was 13. You know, I mean...
Elon isn't Jewish. Alon is. His father named him after a sci-fi character. Yeah, and a lot of sci-fi is written by Jews. They like sci-fi. That's a good... That's like Star Trek. That's why it's a big pedophile thing. Wouldn't you know, Jewish people love sci-fi, and Star Trek is a favorite among pedophiles. Think about that for a second. Isn't that kind of odd? This is always a good one. This is always a funny one. This is always a funny one, but I've never done the full connection on stream before. Pedophilia in Star Trek. If you're a pedophile, odds are you've watched a lot of Star Trek. Q&A, new book explains how Jews invented sci-fi. It's no secret that many Jews love science fiction. If you're a pedophile, you've probably watched a lot of... Interesting, okay.
You know, visited Masada. I'm certainly checking the box.
Yeah, this is, I don't know, for the new viewers, basically this whole story is, this is really funny. It is actually really funny. The LA Times recently ran a story about the child exploitation section. This is really funny, pedophilia stuff. Child exploitation section of the Toronto Sex Crimes Unit, which contained a mind-boggling statistic. Of more than 100 offenders the unit has arrested over the last 4 years, all but one has been a hardcore Trekkie. So every single pedophile they've arrested, except for one, is a Star Trek, like hardcore Star Trek fan. Isn't that bizarre?
A lot of things.
So whenever somebody told me they love Star Trek, I'm always like, huh? Okay, I get you. Because the original Star Trek was fine. It was enjoyable as a kid. But I've never really had the desire to watch it again or get into the new show. But every time, and I hear people say, I love Star Trek, I'm like, wait a second. Because I liked it as a kid. It was enjoyable. It was fun. We had some cool adventures. But it was never that cool. It was like, I liked Get Smart and Kojak, The Alfred Hitchcock Hour, Twilight Zone, all these good shows, Bob Newhart Show. Those are Mary Tyler Moore, great shows, Dick Van Dyke Show. Man, Star Trek was another good one, but it wasn't really my favorite.
Most of my friends are Jewish, just worked out that way. So sometimes I guess maybe I forget. Am I Jewish?
Dude, he's so funny. Elon Musk is actually funny.
I'm Jewish.
And once again, when he says I'm Jewish, that's a Elon. That's a Kanye West reference right there. Yeah, Carol Burnett show. Carol Burnett could be funny. She could also suck, but she could be funny. That's just a Kanye West reference right there when he says I'm Jewish. Yeah, the original Twilight Zone. That's what I'm talking about, the old one. When is he gonna drop? I want to watch his. I want to watch Kanye West's apology video. That's gonna be so funny, dude. Even if it's like sad, it's gonna be funny. But I think it's gonna be funny and retarded.
Aspirationally Jewish.
So, you know, when you hear critiques about X, right, about the amount of anti-Semitism on X, what are the metrics that you're seeing from the inside about the amount of anti-Semitism or quote-unquote hate speech, because it's always a vaguely defined term, hate speech, on your platform?
Yeah, I mean, the outside audits that we've had done, at least the ones that we've had done, show that there was the least amount of anti-Semitism on X. if you look.
And this is so funny too, because he's like, actually, it's better. So shut up. Once again, just shut up. Stop whining. Life is good. You're not being raided. We don't have the bubonic plague. There's less anti-Semitism than ever. So shut up.
Look at all the other social. Like, it's never going to be zero if you've got 600 million people on a platform.
Once again, look at like he has a little smile when he says 600 million. Watch.
Just the other social.
Watch this. Watch his face. He has a slight smile.
Like, it's never going to be zero if you've got 600.
Yeah, there's a half smile there. And you guys are saying, no, there's not. There's no half smile. That's because you're retarded. That's a smile right there.
Million people on a platform.
Yeah, that's a smile. Once again, dude, not your friend, not on your team, but also I wouldn't say your enemy either. In the moment, maybe in the future, but I don't think now. I think their ideal is like the religious crazies. As long as they don't blow up, they don't cause problems. It can be retarded.
Expecting it to be anything to be zero is extremely unlikely because you've got 600 million people on a platform.
Once again, just another smile there.
But when they compare us to Instagram, TikTok, TikTok's actually got a lot of anti-Semitism.
TikTok is pretty terrifying.
And that's just competitive stuff. That's just using the weight of neurotics used against TikTok, which is Chinese.
Checked out TikTok. I mean, the algorithm is absolutely pushing you toward pro-Hamas material.
Yes, it is.
Somebody should pull down Ben Shapiro's pants and call him a fag. That honestly would be hilarious, and that would be the end of his career.
I believe we have TikTok has like 5 times the amount of anti-Semitism per post than we do. So it's not, like I said, it's not going to be zero. And
the reason for that is that Chinese people can't understand like doublespeak and sarcasm. So you can be like very silly and very obviously anti-Semitic, but an Asian mind won't comprehend it.
To the best of our knowledge, it has the least amount of anti-Semitism of any platform.
Legacy media has spent an awful lot of ink on you. There's been a lot of attempts to paint you as anti-Semitic or paint X as anti-Semitic. Where do you think that's coming from?
The Jews.
Why does legacy
the
media
Jews? I think the Jews are doing that.
Have you, particularly in the last year and a half, in the crosshairs so much?
Well, I mean, the reality is that X is competition.
Southeast Asian. I thought you were Somali, Chalabro.
Legacy media. So, X is where people go to get the most current news and learn about the world. So, the legacy media is our direct competitors. So they're really going to find every angle to try to cancel X. I mean, if you want to know why things are happening, look at the incentives. So, and legacy media has had a tough time with respect to usage. The numbers I saw was that the sort of traditional print cable television viewership went down something like 20-30% last year. On the other hand, X went up roughly the same, roughly 20-30%. So it's a direct competition for people's attention. So if there's some attack they can levy against me, they will.
It seems as though one of the other matters is not just direct competition between the media and X.
And niggas be like, how did you know I was Somali? Meanwhile, they look like the alien emoji. How did you know I was Somali? I thought you were an alien, dude.
Also, that the legacy media for most of my life,
what's up, Tenrio?
The past 15 years, performed what they saw as a gatekeeping function. They were the ones who got to define the narrative. They were the ones who got to determine what was appropriate news and what was inappropriate news. And then even after social media arose, in the early days, there was this sort of the sort of things that you articulate were actually articulated by virtually all the social media heads. Mark Zuckerberg used to say the kinds of things that you say. Jack Dorsey used to say the kinds of things that you said. And then there seemed to be an institutional takeover by a lot of legacy media types in terms of the kinds of rules and restrictions what you could and could not say on these platforms, who would get banned, who would not get banned. Advertisers weaponized against particular outlets if those outlets didn't follow the diktats that were put forward by these types. And it seems like since you took over, one of the biggest objection of all is that they're not performing the gatekeeping function anymore. Someone else is.
Well, yes. I mean, I don't think that there should be a gatekeeping function by a small number of individuals. I mean, if you, really,
Once again, just anti-Semitic. No gatekeeping, it's anti-Semitic, dude.
For newspapers in America, there are about 5 editors that decide what
Dude, we've been taken over. The Jugheads have taken my audience. I go live, Jimbo just destroys me. See, look. It's over. Oh, wow, I have a lot of viewers. I shouldn't have said that. Now you guys are going to go watch Jimbo.
On the front page, or what to focus on or what not to focus on. And most of the other papers just copy them, essentially. So, but is that really what we want? Do we want just a handful of people deciding what they think is important, or should it be that the people decide what's important?
And the people decide Kanye West. Anti-Semitism is
an
important.
Organic thing where the people decide what's important and what to focus on, not just a handful of editors. Yeah, they don't like the fact that this power has been taken away from them, but I think it should be.
True. Once again, that's just anti-Semitic, dude. Because once again, he's not retarded. I don't know, maybe he is, actually, just by the way he speaks. But, he's been around long enough, he knows the deal. Anybody who's rich, anybody who's doing business, anybody who's lived a life that involves running things has stereotypes about people. Anybody who works in a restaurant has stereotypes about race. Anybody who's a waiter or waitress has a stereotype about black people, Jews, Indians, white people, old white people, gay white people, lesbians, single moms, that sort of stuff. So anybody, much less who's running a huge business or multiple huge businesses, knows what the deal is.
Back to something that you said a little bit earlier, talking about the idea that on a moral level, there's nothing that suggests that simple weakness is itself virtue. That a weak person can be virtuous, but doesn't necessarily mean that they are. A powerful person can be, the victimizer, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are. That logic carried forward, particularly to what's going on in Israel right now, has been, in my opinion, entirely pernicious and wrong. There's this idea that because Israel is a powerful, militarily sophisticated country that is
really militarily sophisticated, dude. Once again, watch his face.
Doing its best to limit.
Watch his face, dude. It's just like, don't do anything. Don't react. Do not react. Just like kind of watch.
Has been, in my opinion, entirely pernicious and wrong. There's this idea that because Israel is a powerful.
He just kind of freezes up. He freezes up and just stares because he can't. Consciously not saying anything.
Militarily sophisticated country that is doing its best to limit civilian casualties in one of the most population-dense areas of the world, in which you have terrorists who are honeycombed throughout every aspect of society, building literally hundreds of miles of tunnels, the entire London subway system worth of tunnels.
Elon could never play poker. I'll probably not, because he can make money faster than playing poker, so it wouldn't be worth it.
That somehow, Israel targeting those systems and killing a lot of people, because when you kill terrorists, unfortunately, and they're embedded among civilians, it's terrible and it's horrifying, but every one of those deaths is on the terrorist group that embeds itself with civilians. There's been this logic has been mapped onto that conflict, that smaller and weaker means morally virtuous because victimized.
Yeah. It really has come completely full circle from, or 180 degrees from what has historically been the case. So through most of history...
Once again, he's just not talking about the Israel-Hamas thing. He's just not, Ben's looking out into the crowd, kind of upset. Kind of like, I did what I'm trying to do, but he's not really agreeing with me. He's just moving on. He's just moving past my point. He doesn't seem to really... He seems to be saying yes, but he doesn't really seem to be actually agreeing.
The operating principle has been might makes right. So, for really up until modern times, might makes right was the, if you were stronger, you were right. Now we've sort of flipped it to if you're weaker, you're right. But neither is true.
I've really been tunneling around this idea. Nice.
There is rightness independent of strength or weakness. Just because somebody's strong doesn't mean they're right, and because somebody's weak doesn't mean they're right. You have to look at morals in the outside.
Yeah, and basically he's just saying right here, like the whole thing. It's like, I honestly do think this is a big troll. Not necessarily a malicious troll, but it does seem like he's basically not giving any ground. He's basically saying, well, just because Israel's stronger doesn't mean they're right. But just because Hamas is weaker doesn't mean they're right either. He's refusing to really condemn.
So on a broader level, Elon, you talk a lot about your hope for humanity. I'd say that you're somebody who really loves humanity, which is why you talk about expanding humanity's reach out to the stars. When you go to a place like...
Let's talk about my favorite show. Oh, I want to look this up, actually. Ben... Let's look up this for a second. Hero. Star Trek. That's what I see. I don't know if he likes them. Trouble Tribble, Star Trek, Season 2, Episode 15. Star Trek 2, Star Trek 2. Star Trek 2. Who says the original Star Trek was cheesy? Bitly link. Let's go to this one, see what it is. Seems like he likes... It seems like he likes Star Trek. Interesting. Very odd. Very, very telling. Very, interesting.
Or when you walk the villages like Kibbutz Be'eri after October 7th, does that change your opinion of humanity, or does it reinforce what you think humanity...
Yo, thank you.
Anonymous sent $10 libs of TikTok. Dennis Prager, Ben Shapiro. I'm not even racist, but why are ethnic and religious minorities all over American politics/culture? Imagine if Arab Muslims were a big part of Chinese society.
That's a good point.
It's weird.
Why is every single person, Dennis Prager, Ben Shapiro, Cohen, Justein, Goldberg, what's with all these Jews? That is a good point. I'm not even racist either. But what is with all these Jews running the media and running politics? I'm kind of confused. That is a good point. I'm not racist either. What's with all these Jews in my media and my banking system and politics? Why are they running the world? That's my question. I'm not even racist though.
Can be on both
That's a good
the positive
point.
side and on the negative side.
I think it is actually human nature to love humanity unless you are indoctrinated otherwise. So
Unless you're Goyim. Unless you're told about the Goyim. Once again, just another dog whistle, honestly.
I think the actual default for most people is to love humanity and to love being around their fellow humans. You can take, for example, like what's one of the worst punishments in prison is solitary confinement. And all solitary confinement means is that you don't get to hang out with the other prisoners, which might not be the best group of people to hang out with. But even that is considered a terrible punishment, to not be able to hang out with other prisoners. So in truth, I think in our nature, we all love humanity unless we are indoctrinated.
He's nuts. Either Elon is trolling or he's seriously naive. He's not, though. That's the thing. He's not naive. So he has to be trolling. He's not actually naive. When you're rich, when you're powerful, when your parents are running a cobalt mine, you're going to be treated better by Jews because you have access. Just like look at how they treat Elon. Look at Eric Weinstein and how he treats Joe Rogan and how they kind of like gas up people. But you still notice their nastiness, even if you're being gassed up all the time. So he's definitely not naive. I honestly think it is a troll.
And so we have to stop that indoctrination.
So how do you think that people ought to pursue that? Because obviously we have seen indoctrination at a wide variety of levels, ranging from sort of soft indoctrination in various schools in the West to very, very hard indoctrination that you see in, for example, the Gaza Strip.
Yeah, maybe the
Things are
Grimacy told him.
Unfortunately, at very young ages, they have graduation ceremonies that we've seen tapes of where they're reenacting kidnapping of Israeli soldiers or killing of Israeli soldiers, for example.
That fundamentally has to be addressed, or there will not be peace. The education of kids in Gaza, the indoctrination of hate into kids in Gaza has to stop. So when I was in Israel, I was like, that was my top recommendation, is like, you've got to make sure, I understand the need for this
And once again, he goes back from saying like, yeah, that needs to stop being hateful, and it's actually the Jews' fault. Actually, the indoctrination is really bad, and My top recommendation is stop being an asshole and be nice to them. You actually need to be nice to them. The reason they hate you is because you're jerks.
Gaza.
Listen to this. Listen.
That was my top recommendation. Is like you've got to make sure. You know, I understand the need for this to invade Gaza, and unfortunately, some innocent people will die. There's no way around it. But the most important thing is to ensure that afterwards, that the indoctrination, where kids are taught from as soon as they can.
It's literally that. He's literally just saying, "You guys, it's your fault."
Understand language.
He's saying it's not the responsibility of Gazans; it's the responsibility of Israel.
That their goal is to kill Israel.
If you could have a 10-minute conversation with Elon,
$5
what would you talk about?
10-minute conversation with Elon. What would you talk about? It would be interesting to talk to him.
If I could get him to be honest without being like autistic, like ask him what he actually believes about everything. Like there's a base level of honesty. I would ask him about his grandpa who got kicked out of Canada and how he thinks about that. I would say, what's the deal with that? And he could have to have a real conversation. He wouldn't be, I would talk to him about, what he thinks about his grandpa and the technocrats, that sort of stuff. And then I would also ask him what he thinks about religious groups in the context of transhumanism. I would say just say your vision. I'd make sure that is his vision. I would ask him, I would say what is your, since obviously transhumanism is kind of, if that succeeds, that kind of says like religion's fake. Like if you can live forever and you can replace your body parts and you can live forever and AI can become like super powerful, AGI or strong intelligence can be real. What would you, how would you deal with the religious people? What's your view on that? And what's your view for a future? What's your honest view, in terms of countries, societies, borders, governments, do you actually think that they matter? Do you think it's just kind of a temporary impediment and it won't really matter? I wouldn't really ask about specifics like people and that sort of stuff. I would just ask about what his operating philosophy is, whether he thinks, borders will matter, whether he thinks, Congress, what governments actually matter, education really matters, or it's an individual thing. You'll get those answers if there's no cameras around. That's what I would say.
And if you're told that from when you're a toddler, well, you're going to believe it. And that needs to stop.
Yeah. On a technological side, what do you think can be done there? Because actually, this is one of the areas where, the Gaza Strip isn't famous for its internet access. There are a lot of places around the world where the government puts an extraordinarily heavy hand on the flow of information. You were mentioning that the Nazis, first thing they did was take over the entire press mechanism inside Germany and then inside the occupied areas of.
I love how we skip past so the Nazis got rid of all Jews and somehow they all of a sudden the Nazis had all the control of the media when they got rid of the Jews. That's very odd.
Europe, but that obviously happens all over the world right now. And one of the things you've used Starlink for is to try and open up some of those avenues of information. But what can you do? What should we be aiming at?
It's worth noting also that the Nazis engaged in.
If you aren't Jewish, don't say I'm Jewish. If you are a Christian, don't go to Auschwitz or wear a Baphomet suit. I'm Jewish. But no. All jokes aside, he's not Christian. Definitely not Christian. I think it's just like there's different warring. Chinese people are not Jewish, but they're not Christian. It's like that. It's like a different entity altogether, in my opinion. I think it's a completely different entity that's more based on psychology and more based on, and there obviously is a racial component that leads to people being a certain way. But I think it's a completely different group that people aren't really identifying yet. I really do think it's not just like the Chinese are not, Christians, they're not Americans, but they're also not Jewish and they're not Israelis. I think, Elon Musk is part of a group that's not Christian, it's not Jewish, and it's not American or globalist. I think it's different, a different sort of entity, a different sort of appendage of all the forces vying for influence.
Extreme censorship within Germany for anything that was pro-Semitic. I'm not sure I don't know how many people are aware of that, but they censored any pro-Semitic, anyone who tried to defend the Jews in Germany, anything pro-Semitic.
This is why we need free speech on Twitter.
So
the censorship is bad.
Once
again, it's just the main point is not anything about Jews. It's just about censorship being bad.
I think freedom of speech and rigorous pursuit of the truth is one way to get to defeat hatred.
You know, when I look at the United States,
maybe the way. Yeah.
Well, when I look at the United States, one of the things that seems to be breaking down. And
Nervous, drink of water.
The first element historically,
have a good day, Yaron.
maybe the last element of society in a state of mental decline, is a vast outbreak of anti-Semitism. This is what was happening in not only Nazi Germany, but historically, countries that are in a state of decline tend to have wild outbreaks of anti-Semitism.
It's like herpes.
And it seems to me that one of the
anti-Semitism is a lot like herpes, and that's ugly. It's kind of annoying, and it's the result of a parasite inside of a body being reacted to by the body. You know, anti-Semitism is a lot like herpes in a way, where it's kind of like this visual thing where your body's having an outbreak and a response because there's this like parasite inside the body that the body's not getting rid of. And unless the body gets rid of the herpes or the body dies, the herpes outbreaks, it's just something that always happens because there's a parasite inside the body eating away at it.
key things that can reverse that process is the rebuilding of local institutions. And as local institutions break down, you see sort of this fragmentation of the population at large. How do you merge the need for technological development with the building of those local institutions, families, churches, schools, the kinds of things that societies are built upon?
Yeah, actually, I should say there were really three things that were my strong recommendation visiting Israel. One is, obviously, one has to get rid of Hamas fighters where reform is impossible. Their only goal is to kill Israelis. They ought to be either killed or imprisoned, because otherwise they will simply kill more Israelis. Then the second thing is you've got to change the indoctrination in the schools so that kids are not taught to hate from the moment they...
Well, again, hate who? So this is a classic business technique.
Retard sent $5. Is Elon a transhumanist?
I think so, yeah. I think that's kind of the thing with, you think about, the brain implants, you think of the AI, that is all transhumanism. Now, I'm more, if transhumanism happens, I'm not actually against it. I'm not going to fight against transhumanism. I have nothing against transhumanism. If it works, it works. That's like, I'm kind of the same opinion Elon Musk is, in that, the truth is what wins. And, if transhumanism is correct, then it'll win. And if it's not correct, I don't really worry about it winning, because it's not going to win. So I'm kind of a live and let live, let the truth flourish type of person. But he's definitely a transhumanist, yeah. I'm not a transhumanist because I don't think it works. But if it works, it works. I'd be pleasantly surprised if it worked. But once again, this is like a sandwich. And I learned this from Desperate Housewives. This is a classic business technique where one thing is a compliment, which is, say something nice. It's a sandwich technique. You say something nice, which is, you got to kill the Hamas terrorists that are going to kill you. Which anybody can agree on. If somebody's going to try to kill you, you should try to kill them first. Get rid of them or neutralize them, right? Imprison them or kill them. That makes sense from a perspective of an Israeli. The middle thing is the insult, or the middle thing is the bad news, which is you got to stop the indoctrination. And he's not saying indoctrination of Hamas, he's saying indoctrination in general, which is kind of a vague nuance, but it is a nuance. And then the last thing he says will be something pro-Israeli.
Then the second thing is you've got to change the indoctrination in the schools so that kids are not taught to hate from the moment they are 2 years old. And then the third thing...
So once again, he didn't say that was to hate Gazans, or Gazans hating Jews. He just said kids shouldn't hate.
And which is a very hard thing to do in this situation, is conspicuous acts of kindness to the people in Gaza.
Never mind. I'm wrong. That's not a sandwich. It's just a 1-2 punch, dude. You gotta be nice to them, dude.
Conspicuous acts of kindness to the people in Gaza. It's just that much harder to hate someone.
You gotta stop being so hateable, dude. Once again, just tossing the blame on them. You gotta actually be nice. So I guess only the first, it's like the first is sugar and the rest is like bitter medicine. Stop being a bastard and people will like you.
To the people in Gaza.
That's so funny, dude.
And hate from the moment they are 2 years old. And then the third thing is
be nice to them. Third thing is stop being a jerk.
Which is a very hard thing to do in this situation, is conspicuous acts of kindness to the people in Gaza. Conspicuous acts of kindness to the people in Gaza. It's just that much harder to hate someone if you do nice things for them, even if they try to bite your hand when you do it. Keep doing it. And you look at the Marshall Plan after, look at the difference between.
I agree.
$5. I agree about transhumanism. Paul, want to see my?
Yeah, I do, Tenryo. If this is really Tenryo and not a racist pretending to be Tenryo. Dude, bro. That's your waifu? Bro, come on. Oh, this is sad. Oh, my girlfriend's really into Blade Runner stuff. I'm gonna make her watch Her. That's the movie I'm gonna make her watch. Her. She's gonna stop getting into. I predict after I make her watch Her, and she realizes that, you know, girlfriends are you know, not for me, but there's gonna be always there's gonna be the insecurity. I bet once she watches it, she'll stop getting into the Blade Runner stuff, even though it's fun, it's cute. Don't worry, it's me. Okay. Yeah, I've seen this before. Is this new?
あのね、今日は一緒に暮らしてから3ヶ月の記念日だよ。覚えてた？もちろん。雰囲気変えちゃおう。
But yeah, I don't like this because I don't understand. To me, like, the nice interactions between myself and my girlfriend are very pleasant, but they're like the cherry on top. They're like sugar. The real invaluable part of the interactions is like, I do something nice for her, she does something nice for me, right? Cooking, cleaning, chores, work, getting stuff done. And then the nice like interactions, the cuddling, the, you know, smooching, holding hands, the nice trips. That's like the sugar on top. But if you don't have like somebody who does work, if you have somebody who doesn't cook, somebody who doesn't clean, somebody who doesn't help out, somebody who doesn't like take care of you when you're sick, that you can take care of when they're sick, I don't want that. I hate sugar. I don't want sugar, dude. I don't like the whole like emotional support. I don't care about the emotional support. That's just a nice aspect. So I do care about it, but that's a nice thing. You know, it needs to be doing work. It needs to be the robot, you know. There needs to be actual work. And that's the meat of the relationship. Is you doing something nice for them, them doing something nice for you, and being a team where you're essentially like one organism. You're two organisms, and you're functioning as one, and you're forming a sort of you know, symbiotic relationship. That you're now the power of two minds, four hands, four legs, 4 feet. You know, to do more work and get more stuff done, and also have more fun. Yeah, the emotional support is a sweet thing that's on top of it, which is like kind of a magical thing. But that's, you know, if you have the magic without any real, that's just kind of depressing. And like, I would smash it. I'd be like, why aren't you cleaning? And I'd just take a bat to the glass thing and just smash it.
In World War II, where after World War I, Germany got an unfair share of the blame.
Dude, bro. We gotta listen to this again. This is so awesome. This is actually so good. I didn't watch up to this point. I'm like 10 minutes into that, but I haven't watched. This is so awesome, dude.
In the schools, so that kids are not taught to hate from the moment they.
I told you guys.
2 years old, and then the third thing is, and which is a very hard thing to do in this situation, is conspicuous acts of kindness to the people in Gaza. Conspicuous acts of kindness to the people in Gaza. It's just that.
Why is World War I, as a South African, why is that important? The World War I reference, why is that relevant?
If you do nice things for them, even if they try to bite your hand when you do it, keep doing it. And you look at the Marshall Plan after, you know, look at the difference between World War I and World War II, where after World War I, Germany got an unfair share of the blame. It led to immense bitterness. It's what allowed Hitler to rise to power.
It is so funny they aren't showing Ben Shapiro.
Embittered German soldiers from World War I. And but then you look in contrast to what happened after World War II. You had the Marshall Plan. So you had, you had the United States coming in and actually funding the rebuilding of Germany and the rebuilding of Japan. How often does that happen in history? But look at the results. No war with Germany, peace with Japan and Germany for now, soon it'll be almost a century.
So when you look at the state of the West right now,
moving on. Moving on.
yeah, somebody maybe
This is like a Christian message of like being forgiving, and and the Bible even says this, heap coals on the head of people. The worst thing you can do to an enemy is be nice to them, and being kind to somebody who's bad to you is like heaping coal on top, burning fire on top of their head.
Now,
so he just does this whole very nice soliloquy, which is completely reasonable, isn't like mean. Be nice, be kind. It's really hard, but it's really important. And then in response, there's like silence and moving on.
Soon it'll be almost a century.
So when you look at the state of the West right now,
dude, absolutely no response.
Yeah, somebody maybe it's all the doom scrolling, but when you look at the state of the West right now, you're very optimistic. It sounds like I find it hard to be optimistic in this moment. It's been a very ugly.
That's because you're broke, boy. You're a broke boy, and you're not a transhumanist Chad.
A couple of years, from
it's like this isn't. What about these colleges? They're pretty woke.
into the current conflict in Israel and Hamas, to domestic politics in the United States and everywhere else. It seems like there's a lot of polarization, a lot of fragmentation. What do you think is the future of the West? Can we come together around any sense of shared common values, especially given the fact that everybody is kind of drinking from the fire hose of information? One of the downsides the upside of information is the availability. The downside is, choice paralysis and overload.
I mean, you can definitely get information overload. There's so much information coming at you these days because you can get all the world's information in real time. And it's impossible for one human to digest all that. I think there are some things that we can agree on, or most people would agree on, are cool and inspiring, like humanity going to the moon. If you ask probably kids almost anywhere in the world, what's the coolest thing humans have ever done? I think a lot of kids would say, we went to the moon, so I think we want to continue that spirit of exploration. Speaking of kind of growing the pie, and is that we want to, I think, have a dream that we can be a spacefaring civilization, a multi-planet species, a multi-stellar
This is true, though, and even though the moon thing is cringe, who cares? It is true about the shared common outward-looking goal, because once a country starts looking inward and fighting, you get a bunch of bad stuff. A good example of this is the, I don't know if you guys remember, because it's kind of nerdy, but it was all over Twitter. It was too nerdy for me, honestly. But there was like a superconductor hoax where people thought that they might have discovered a superconductor, which is essentially, and I'm probably gonna get this wrong because once again, it's too nerdy for me. I don't get it. I don't think it's real. I think it's a myth. But it was really cool when it was a potentiality, which is essentially just really, really like a perfect battery, essentially, or perfect electric generation. And this, once again, this is not accurate. Like levitation, all that stuff. Maglev trains, all this cool stuff that would be enabled by like unlimited power, batteries, computers could be made better, transportation be made better. And all of a sudden, everything was very, very optimistic in the sense of like, if this is real, everybody is kind of benefited. Everybody, depending, it doesn't matter on race, country, belief system, because this all of a sudden makes it so we have kind of an infinite amount of energy. Yeah, free energy, essentially, which didn't work. Yeah, room temperature superconductor. And basically that was like a positive, really cool breakthrough. If it was real, it wasn't real. And as a result, all of a sudden you had all this dreaming and all this potentiality. And the closest thing to that that's real that we've seen is AI. And that still is really exciting, even though the hype's worn off. And it is going to be life-changing for a lot of things. And it's going to change industries, change how we interact with computers in society, how we interact with ourselves, how we interact with knowledge. That is going to happen. That is going to be a huge fundamental shift that people haven't really understood yet. It's kind of, the hype has died down, so people don't really get it. But having some sort of positive goal where all of a sudden it opens up the field to really dream big and do crazy things, whether it's space travel, whether it's medicine, whether it's transhumanism, whether it's AI, that sort of stuff, that is actually a really positive thing for everybody. And that is a good outlook. That is a correct outlook.
And go out there among the stars and discover the nature of the universe. That we can collectively seek greater enlightenment to better understand this incredible universe we live in.
Like one thing that's really cool, and I tried to find some evidence of it, or tried to find some videos of it. I can't really find anything of it yet. That's good. But it's just like we have AI for 2D pictures, and it's obviously not great, but it actually is crazy. Like if you went 5 years back and showed people now what we have now, it would actually be insane. That we haven't done yet is we have the code, but having 3D models, like picture having a ChatGPT where you're like, make me a 3D model with a walk animation. You know, here's this 3D model, here's a picture I drew. Now make a 3D model of it that runs, walks, jumps. He does all this stuff, and then it just creates the 3D model. And that will happen. That's going to be around soon, sooner than you think. And that's going to be insane for, video games, that sort of stuff. Like there's so much untapped stuff with the AI generation that we haven't really tapped the surface. Another example that we have is picture, you upload an image, right? I'll show you guys this. This is like a really crazy thing that people don't really get the level to which this is actually way better. Way more cool than anything that you can really know. Let me go here. Whoops. Let me find a picture. Look at this. So we have this picture. What is this picture? Describe this picture of me. Person with a beard and glasses lying down and leaning back. And so this is just an image, and it analyzed it. Look how quick that analyzed it. Because it can analyze one image, it can analyze videos. And there can be context between videos and stuff. And it's going to actually be, you're not going to need neural nets for, self-driving. You're not going to need neural nets for, the AI, this path of stuff. Picture you have like a robot that it just sees pictures, because that's all cameras are, right? A bunch of pictures together. Then it sees somebody moving towards you, right? And they can analyze it in like a humanoid robot, right? It can analyze, oh, there's a person coming towards me. It's holding out its hand. It has the context of the images prior, the images closer. It can choose. I can say, oh, this thing is moving towards me. The overall feeling of the image is casual and good-natured. What's a beauty shot? What's like an image. An image I can use based on the uploaded image where I'm in a suit sipping wine on a boat with a bunch of women, ladies on the yacht. And it, glamour shots. Yeah. I'll do a glamour shot of it. Yeah, headshots. And it's using neural nets under the hood. Okay. Yeah. Once again, I haven't actually looked into it. I feel like I'm getting stuff wrong. So, but the insane level of the fact that it can do images now, it will be able to do videos. I showed you the audio where it was already doing the, I'll show it again. Watch where it's like it can replace. It can actually replace a McDonald's teller. I'll show you. See, this is Beardson. Beardson on a yacht. But like this, watch, I'll show you guys. Pretend you are an Amazon support rep.
Of course. I'm here to help with any Amazon-related queries you might have. What do you need assistance with today?
Hi, I didn't get a package that says it was shipped to me.
I'm sorry to hear that your package hasn't arrived, even though it's marked as shipped. To help you better, can you tell me if there's a tracking number or any specific details about the order you can share?
Yeah, it's like this is like literally that's all I said. It's not like pre-configured or anything. We're so close to an insane amount of stuff being changed and made more efficient. And it's just this stuff is like the past. This Jewish cult, really, it is the past. Nationalism, I think, is the past. Sorry. You know, I am not a nationalist. I'm a globalist. I'm a technocrat, and I worship Elon Musk.
I find that very compelling. I think most people would find that very compelling.
I think embedded in that is also, as you say, that core value of meritocracy. Because it's one thing to say man can...
Michael. You didn't know this, Michael? You didn't saw this? Watch this. Look. I'm gonna do the McDonald's one. Pretend you are a McDonald's drive-through person.
Sure, I can do that. Welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order?
Wait, this isn't Burger King? I want a Burger King.
You're looking for Burger King. Unfortunately, this is McDonald's. But if you're craving something from Burger King, you'll find one not too far from here. Would you like directions to the nearest Burger King?
No, I'll just get some McDonald's stuff. What's some good McDonald's food?
McDonald's has a lot of popular choices. Their Big Mac is a classic favorite. It's a burger with 2 beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, and onions on a sesame seed bun. Chicken McNuggets are also very popular, especially with dipping sauces like sweet and sour or barbecue. For something a bit different, you might try the Filet-O-Fish. And don't forget about their fries. They're famous for being particularly tasty. Would you like to try any of these?
Yeah, I'll like a Big Mac with some bacon on it, some chicken McNuggets with the Rick and Morty sauce, and can I get also a large Coke with no ice?
All right, 1 Big Mac with added bacon, chicken McNuggets with Szechuan sauce, and a large Coke with no ice. Anything else for your order today?
Can I get some extra napkins?
Absolutely. I'll add extra napkins to your order. Your total will be at the next window. Please drive forward when you're ready. Thanks for choosing McDonald's.
Yeah, see, look how crazy that is. And we're so close to like stuff being so insane. People don't even get how crazy things are going to be, especially as the new generation comes into management positions. He knows the Rick and Morty sauce, yeah. Ask if Jaden's there, yeah. But it's just, this stuff is old. Like, Jewish cultists who like suck babies' penis. It's just done, dude. It's just over.
Go to the moon.
What was that? That was ChatGPT.
It's another thing to say, I can be part of man going to the moon. And a meritocracy suggests that you can be part of that. It's not just that human beings are capable of doing the thing, it's that you can be a part of that thing if you work hard enough, if you innovate enough, if you try hard enough. And so societies that seem to have given up on that also seem to have given up on
But then imagine you just go like this. You say, hey, can I take this picture I drew? All right, and make a 3D looking sprite sheet of the image I uploaded, of this image, character, running, jumping, etc. that I can use for my video game. Right, and then you upload an image, and make sure it would actually create a 3D model stuff. Like we're so close. We're so close to a crazy amount of stuff. Yes. Running. But right now it's not perfect. But like this is just a matter of configuring stuff and figuring out how to optimize stuff, which you can do not retroactively, but recursively. We are so close to creating a Pat Little Mario game. You guys don't get how close we are to a Mario game with Pat Little. You know, make an enemy character. Sketch concept of a monster called Skivity Toilet. Put him on a blimp. Yeah, it's just we're so close to an insane level of content creation and other stuff. Because it's really just like a bunch of pipes. It's a bunch of different, like, as Al Gore said, a series of pipes. Where you could be like, you could upload he's like, I played this, you have something integrated into your operating system, and you're like, you play a type of game a ton, and you play a different type of game a ton. And then the computer says, hey, would you like to combine these two games and make something similar but different? Like, yeah, I want to actually combine the mechanics that I really seem to like in the game. Yeah, here's Skibidi Toilet. And then, it just creates the game. It creates the art, it creates the things, and it creates the project, it compiles it, and you can play it. There's a lot of really cool stuff that we haven't done yet that we will be able to do in the future. Makes all this, retarded mental illness of Jews that's completely irrelevant.
The moon. Societies that are so reflective about their own supposed flaws. The United States has this problem right now that they are unwilling to simply say freedom is pretty phenomenal and meritocracy is the greatest thing that's ever been invented, and we should hold on to that, and that's what's going to allow us to get to the moon.
Honestly, the death of creativity. No, it's not the death of creativity, dude. It's a tool. It's like saying a shovel is the end of moles. It's like, no, it makes it so people can dig stuff. It's going from a horse and carriage to a car. Yes, there's going to be downsides, but there's also going to create incredible upsides. It just enhances productivity. It enhances the power of the human mind. It basically makes you as an individual more powerful, which also, makes your weaknesses worse. But it's a tool. It's not a bad thing. It's good it's just good. It works towards you being empowered. Now, if you suck, you're going to suck even more. If you're awesome, you're going to get even more awesome. That's just how it works.
To Mars or to anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, there's many wonderful, interesting things that are happening besides space exploration. Obviously, as time goes by, we improve our ability to cure cancer, to cure many diseases. There's increased access to information. And people talk a lot about inequality, but what about the equality of access to
or make the creation of any such art any less impressive? Yeah, it doesn't. It just makes it so anybody. It's the same thing with the internet. The internet, most of the content sucks, but it has empowered people like Nick. It empowered people like me. Empowered people like Keith. Empowered people like Elon. Empowered people who are doing stuff or want to do stuff. Empower people like Patrick Little to do stuff. Obviously, most output, because most people suck, is going to suck. But it's going to empower people to do things that are cool. And that's better for everybody, because the more everybody's empowered, the less there are weird cults that control the flow of information, the flow of creativity, the flow of, the less people, there's less control nodes. There's less ability for people to capture distribution modes and distribution ways to send out information and send out creative works. And control what you do, control what you see, and as a result, there's gonna be a lot more trash and also a lot more gold.
That's incredible. Right now, if you've got a very cheap electronic device at an internet cafe, you can access all of the lectures of MIT for free. You can access almost any book. You can learn anything.
We're on the Metal Gear timeline. Jews were going to create AI trannies to police all the content online. That's the crazy thing, too. It doesn't matter. Because right now we have online models, and that's true. But you don't need to. It's like living in the city. And when you're living in the city, so many more options for food, for barcades, for sex, for drugs, for partying. And if you move down to the countryside, you're not going to get as many options for that. You're not going to get many hookup options, as many options for barcades, as many options for bars and drugs. But you're also going to have more freedom over what you do. And even though you're going to be more limited in vice and that sort of stuff, you're more free to do other stuff. You're not going to make as much money. You're not going to make as much stuff. You're not going to be as well known. But you're going to have better, life standards. You're going to be healthier, less polluted. It's going to be the same thing with tech. You're going to be able to get local models. You're going to be able to get stuff. And maybe you're not doing the city stuff, which is as amazing. You're not going to have skyscrapers. But you're going to be able to do really cool things that are locally oriented. Small projects that you like, that your friends like, that are productive for you, that make sure you're productive, right? You're going to be able to build tools that allow you to spend your time in a more wise way. You're going to be able to build tools or access tools that are going to help you be more healthy based on your genetics, based on what your diet should be because of your health, your age, where you are, your ethnicity, stuff that is going to organize your schedule better on a personal level, which can allow you to be more effective. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of bad stuff, like a lot of AI porn, that sort of stuff. But it's really up to you as a person. You're going to be enabled to. Do I want to live in the city? Do I want to live in the mainstream trash area, or do I want to live, a little more constrained of a life and also have a crazy amount of technology and a crazy amount of improvements that come out of the city and filter their way down into the rural areas? It's going to be awesome. I hope an AI that lets me rape anyone comes out. Cool. It's called being Jewish, dude. This is called being Jewish.
Information that was unthinkable even 20, 30 years ago. You can teach yourself how to do anything for free.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And really, it speaks to an outlook. It really speaks to a Eeyore outlook or a Tigger outlook. Be more of a Tigger. Don't be an Eeyore. You're being an Eeyore right now. You're being like, oh, bother. It's not worth it. It's going to happen. Your outlook can be, go shoot for the moon, literally, in some senses. Or, just, the Antichrist, there's a demon inside my computer. And that's no way to live.
Maybe there's too much focus on the things that are unequal, but we forget about the things that are equal and that have improved inequality so much, like access to information. That's one of the things that we're trying to help out with Starlink is provide internet access to people who don't have internet access.
AI has advantages, but so does pressure to improve. Yeah, that's true. But that's the thing, is it's a tool. It's a tool, and you can misuse it, like you said with steroids. You can misuse it and completely destroy your body, like most bodybuilders do. Or you can use the knowledge of proper eating, proper macros, or whatever, if you care about that stuff, to be healthy and work out and get a real natural physique that's healthy. Or take, mild steroids or mild TRT and benefit your life when you're older. There's a lot of little things you can do, and, there's always a range, and this is always a range with anything. There's never, there's always a range, which is, I'll just show you here. How you unretard yourself, you can't. There's always a range of behaviors, right? It's like not caring at all and caring a ton. Infinite negative and an infinite positive. This isn't really how you should draw a graph, but whatever. This is kind of to say infinite and then have a hard line, whatever. We'll pretend. And the healthy range is somewhere between here and here. This range, it's like being social, being completely antisocial, is how you get like lose in life because everybody hates you. Being way too social is how you get raped in life because people rape you. Somewhere in the middle, you want to be somewhere here where you're a little antisocial or a little pro-social, and you're going to get along, right? And there's obviously an optimal way for each person inside this range. It's the same thing with working out, right? If you don't work at all, if you don't care about your health at all, and you become fat and disgusting, you end up like Compot, right? Or like Ben Shapiro. If you care too much, you end up a homosexual, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's had gay sex. If you're in the middle somewhere, you're healthy, you're fit, and you're ordering HelloFresh, and you're cooking meals at home, but you're not spending all the time to get all the recipes. You're kind of optimizing, and you're spending more money, but you're also saving a lot of time. And that's like a healthy thing, right? It's the same thing with your health, with nootropics or health with like vitamins. Take some vitamins that you're lacking in your normal diet, you're going to be healthier. You take nothing and you eat trash, your body's going to suck. You obsess over stuff and you end up like Charles from MDE, and you're an insane, mentally ill person who's a loser. That's kind of really the vibe. You can be a neurotic woman, a homosexual, or you can be like a slob, disgusting, or you can be me right in the middle, taking some nootropics and being healthy, not getting vaxxed, that sort of stuff. And you're good. You're good to go because you took zinc. You never get a cold ever again. That's really where you want to be. It's just like anything. With AI, you don't use AI at all, you get left behind, you're slow, you're like neurotic, you say it's demons, and you say it's, oh, this is a demon, this is blah, 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 this is, Satan's inside my computer. And you're retarded, you don't know how technology works. All right, you're retarded. You're also like, AI will solve the world's problems, and you're like, worship AI, and see, I got the AI to say nigger, it's space, and you worship the AI, you're retarded. And somewhere in the middle, you use it to augment your ability to learn. You use it to augment your ability to get projects done. And you use it to get people to send you super chats. And that's me right in the middle again. Wow. That's crazy. Anyway, let's watch this. Back to the insane Jewish person and the insane autistic person.
It's too expensive for them to afford, because once you have internet access, you can learn anything and you can sell your products and services.
And that's not a new concept. I didn't invent that. Everybody kind of knows that. And also Aristotle, I think it was Aristotle, right? Was it Plato or Aristotle? I forget who it was. And they basically said, yeah, it's like you want to be healthy, but like don't be like a fag, essentially. I forget. I think Plato said you want to be healthy, but don't be a neurotic faggot. Getting screwed up the butt.
So, I think that's pretty amazing. I mean, that's sort of like.
Where do you learn all this information that actually matters? You don't learn all the information that actually matters. You learn techniques for learning and how to do stuff. Don't learn about trivia, factoids. Though you can learn those later. But mechanics and technique, or technic, as tryhards would say, learning how things work, like the engineering aspect of stuff. If you learn fundamentals and you learn cause and effect in physics, not in terms of like physics and math, but physics of the universe, like natural law, not the Anglo natural law, the Indian natural law, then that's gonna, everything you learn, everything is kind of similar to everything else, to paraphrase Kanye West, in that, if you hit somebody really hard physically, they're going to react badly if you don't kill them, right? It's the same thing if you hit somebody very, very bad verbally, they're going to react. If you destroy their ego, they'll just break down. But if you don't destroy their ego, they're going to be really, really mad at you and lash out. It's the same, every single thing. So if you hit a car really hard, you might implode the car, or it might, destroy your car. It depends, that sort of thing. It really is, everything is very similar. Physics is like a very, very cause and effect type of thing.
If we're going to count our flaws, we should also count our blessings.
True. True. Stop being a pessimistic fag. So true, Elon Musk. Talk to this Jew.
One of the things that I think is amazing about what you've been doing, Elon, is that it's not just the business side of you that's important. Obviously, you've become this unbelievably large figure looming in the public imagination, and that means that when you tweet, it has impact that is very large. How do you decide what to tweet? Sometimes it's memory, sometimes it's joking, sometimes it's these long.
Non-human without a soul asks somebody who's a human, "How do you do things?" how do you decide what to do? I don't know. I just do what I think is best.
thought out post. How do you decide when to tweet?
How do you decide what you say? Like, what is this process that you have that allows you to do things?
How do you inform yourself on?
And if Elon should really be like, well, how do you decide? Like anybody, you put one foot inside your pant leg, then you put the other foot inside your pant leg, and then you jump up and down as your pants go on.
The topics that you're tweeting about.
Well, I do post a lot on the X platform. Sometimes 100 times a day. So, once in a while I'll do something dumb, for sure. But I really, I try to say things that I think are interesting or funny.
Describing human
there
human
must be
thoughts.
some reason why 169 million people follow me. I guess. I don't know. I must be keeping them amused in some way. So amuse, entertain, have opinions on something. Sometimes they're wrong, sometimes they're right. And for things like community notes, it applies to me as well as it applies to anyone else. So if I say something that's incorrect or, not full context, then community notes will correct me very quickly. So, but it's only...
Community notes is really good. Because it's a vague thing, and this is a big problem with big corporations, in that, you get banned from Twitch, or you get banned from Twitter. This is kind of a big problem, but also a benefit for big organizations, or AI. Is that Nick gets banned from Twitter, there's nobody they can point the finger at, right? Because it's like a big organization, it's somebody somewhere banned him. We don't really know. If you had so they can say, oh yeah, we don't really know, we'll look into it. Maybe not Nick, but other people. Community notes is really good too, because they can say, well, why aren't you moderating anti-Semitism? Why aren't you moderating stuff? It's like, well, we're doing our best. We're doing community notes, and it's this vague, obscure cloud that lets them be like, yeah, well, we're not really, like, it's kind of like a community thing. We can do better at it, but it's kind of a process, and, processes make mistakes. And so now it's this vague, amorphous blob that Jews have to be like, this is bad. And it's a really, really good, move. And it's very, very smart.
Me doing these posts ever. I don't have a team or anything. In fact,
yeah, it's how the government works. It basically, it's the obfuscation. Hitler writes about this, where when you have fascism, when you have somebody who's leading the country, who's like in charge, if stuff goes wrong, all right, now you're the person who gets blamed because you're in charge. Whereas if democracy or whatever we have, you don't really have that, because something goes wrong and be like, well, there's 50,000 other people, and it's somebody there's fault, but I don't really know who, so I can't really effectively get rid of you. Because even though it's you doing it, I don't really know. And even if I know, I can't convince people it's you. And so it diffuses the responsibility.
I really would recommend for leaders of the world to just literally post your own stuff. And once in a while, you make a mistake. Don't worry about it.
So, yeah.
Can't win them all. Nobody bats 1,000.
So, obviously, where we visited today, the
back to the important part
is never again. I think that the question that a lot of Jews worldwide asked after October 7th and after that wild upsurge of anti-Semitism, which we've seen, the Jew hatred that continues now.
Yes, the Jew hatred, Elon Musk has said, is less than ever on Twitter, that he personally never sees. And it's, is completely irrelevant because life is so much better for everybody. Let's get back to that. Let's back to the anti-Semitism that Elon Musk says has decreased on Twitter. Is actually, that doesn't matter because we don't have the plague and we don't have raiding parties, and that he personally never sees because he never sees it at all.
Now, is whether never again really for a lot of people meant never again between the years 1939 and 1945, or whether it actually means never again like right now, as in if there's a genocidal group that wishes to kill lots of Jews, is that something that you wish to stand up against right now? And when you look out...
Yeah, I basically say, anybody who wants to kill anybody who wants to genocide anybody. I'm from South Africa. is bad. And I want to go back, actually, let's not focus on the Jews. Let's focus on South Africa and white people.
In the state of the world. You know, the video that EJA put up a moment ago suggesting that the Holocaust would have been somewhat mitigated, or people may have had more information. Or been able to, certainly been able to escape.
Elon's like, yeah, I think if Twitter was around, let's just say that we wouldn't have the Holocaust to talk about now. I think if Twitter was around, nobody would be talking about the Holocaust because it wouldn't have happened, and we would have evidence of it, and it would have been shut down because you know, people see what happens, and it wouldn't, you know, we'd know what was going on. There would be a lot less questions, and it wouldn't happen.
I mean, one of the things that's astonishing, obviously, about the history of the Holocaust is how many Jews, because they were only getting partial information, it was slow and it was gradual, and by the time they wanted to get out, it was just too late for them to get out. You know, what are your hopes that never again is a real thing?
I mean, I certainly hope there's not another Holocaust. That's for
How
sure.
realistically?
I hope there's not a Holocaust for the first time.
I think it's unlikely, frankly. So at least if you say, like, I mean, I could be naive, but I think the probability of a Holocaust in the West is extremely tiny.
Once again, it's just so funny. This whole thing is honestly just a troll. People who are despairing over this are missing the picture, in my opinion. It is a troll. He's like, you guys are neurotic. Life is better than it has ever been. Chill out. I never hear anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is down on Twitter. Stop whining. Stop bitching and moaning. Get a grip. You have to be nice to the Gazans. Be purposely nice to them. The way to stop the problem is to get rid of the terrorists and then actually be super nice to the Palestinians, because if you're not, they're going to hate you.
No, I think if you look at, say, the Nazis, I think Hitler got like a third of the vote or something like that when he was first he was sort of semi-elected and then did basically a coup.
What's up, Roseroot?
But think of all the people that fought to destroy Nazism. The millions and millions of people that fought and who died to destroy Nazism.
Yeah, let's not talking about the Holocaust. Let's talk about all the people who died for you. Let's talk about all the white people who died to stop you guys from being killed. Let's focus on the real heroes. The people who sacrificed themselves. How about we focus on those instead of you guys?
That's the vast majority of the West opposed, even in those days, opposed Nazism. And fought and died.
Dude, this is such a good interview.
My grandfather was in World War II for almost 6 years. All his friends got killed. He was the only one of his friends to survive. And he was severely traumatized. Like, he really just couldn't even talk afterwards. Most of that time was in East Africa, North Africa, Italy. The only reason he's even alive, frankly, is because towards the end of the war, they gave like an aptitude test, because he was just a corporal. He didn't graduate high school, so he wasn't eligible for officer school. And they plucked him out probably right before he died and sent him to work for British intelligence in London, which is where he met my grandmother. You know, so he was one of the people fighting to stop the Nazis, and many, along with millions of others. But, you know, so let's not forget that.
Yeah, never forget. How about we never forget all the Goyim that died just to save your sorry ass? Let's not forget. Yeah, let's never forget that white people saved you.
Of the West fought and died to stop Nazism.
Dude, that's so funny.
You know, so let's not forget that the vast majority of the West fought and died to stop Nazism.
That's so funny, man. This is such a good. This is honestly even better than I thought it would be.
So I had the chance to briefly meet your 3-year-old today.
Oh yeah.
He's not circumcised, and what? So I have to admit, I did look, and he's not circumcised.
Fun guy.
Adorable. I have a 3-year-old of my own, so they're all very similar. But you know, you have some kids who are much older. You have kids who are younger, obviously. When it comes to teaching them about things like the Holocaust and anti-Semitism,
how do you yell at your child about it?
How do you address those topics?
Well, my kids are pretty well read, so they read a lot of history. They're not ignorant on the subject.
Dude, that's such a weird, nosy question. That's so funny, and it's such a good answer. It's like they know the deal. They read books, so they understand. That's such a insane question to ask somebody. So how do you lecture your children about the Holocaust? This is such an insane question.
Much older, you have similar. But as you have some kids who are much older, you have kids who are younger, obviously. When it comes to teaching them about things like the Holocaust and anti-Semitism, how do you address those topics?
Well, my kids are pretty well read.
Dude, and this is why homeschooling is important, by the way. Not only is it better, but it also keeps you away from freaks like Ben Shapiro.
They read a lot of history. They're not ignorant on the subject. I mean, maybe the 3-year-old is, sure. But,
I would hope, yes.
Can't read, so. No, my kids are very well read, so. But I've had some sort of disturbing conversations with sort of some, say, nephews, or some family members, not my kids, but kids of family members, where I was actually shocked to see anti-Semitism.
Dude, that's awesome. That's so funny, bro. So his relatives are like, when are you gonna unban Nick Fuentes? Uncle Elon, can you get rid of the Jews and also unban Nick Fuentes?
At least, yeah. One disturbing conversation was, saying that that we deserve to have the trade towers destroyed because of our terrible foreign policy. And I was like, this is what they're teaching you in elite New York high schools? This is messed up.
Well, Elon, I think I personally, Jews all over the world, a lot of people in this room want to thank you for not only visiting Auschwitz, but also for visiting Israel after October 7th and for the strong moral voice you've been on behalf of the fight against anti-Semitism.
I want to thank you for saying you hate Nazis and agreeing with me. And I want to say that it's awesome that you hate Nazis and you think all Holocaust deniers are stupid, and that's what you said today. And agreeing with me, and I wanna say that I'm really, really grateful that you also agree that Jews are awesome, and that you said the Holocaust happened, and you worship the Holocaust like we do, and saying that we're awesome and all anti-Semites should die.
It's great to spend time with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Elon. Thank you, Ben, for great.
He's like, the Jewish guy walks up to him and he's like, thank you very much. That'll be $20 for the interview. Thank you very much. That'll be about $20 for the interview.
Interesting interview. Thank you for the questions and thank you for the answers. I would like now, please, to call the 10th President of the State of Israel, Reuven Rivlin, and Dr. Joël Mergui, the President of the Consistoire of Paris, for a brief picture, please. The 10th President of Israel. Dr. Mergui. Thank you. And Joël. Dr. Joël Mergui, the President.
No handshake? Did he not give him a handshake? Let's see that.
And Dr. Please to. Thank you very much, Elon. Thank you, Ben, for very, very interesting interview. Thank you for the question.
Dude, yeah, he didn't give Ben Shapiro a handshake. That's so funny.
For the
Ben Shapiro leaning over to get a handshake.
Answers.
Refusing.
I would like now, please, to call the 10th President of the State of Israel.
And that body language too, I'm done with this.
Reuven
That's
Rivlin,
so funny.
And Dr. Joël Mergui. Dr. Mergui. Thank you. And Joël. Dr. Joël Mergui, the President of the Consistoire of France. We'll take, please, a picture.
Dude, look at that body language there, dude. King, absolute king. I'm an Elon Musk fan after this. I'm an Elon Musk fan.
Before we move on with the program.
The program, dude, you're getting ahead of yourself.
Thank you, President Rivlin. If we please could call you for the. Okay. How should we hold it again? It's quite heavy.
Dude, he keeps. Ben Shapiro wants that handshake.
Could call you for the.
Ben Shapiro is waiting for that handshake, dude. I wonder if he'll get it. I bet he'll get it at the end. Probably blocked the doorway. Look at him like leaning in over and over again, trying to get the handshake.
Okay. Okay. How's you holding
See, watch. She's gonna lean in right here.
it again?
See, dude, that's so funny.
Quite heavy. Okay. Okay. Please, yeah, please do. Okay.
Dude, is this the Emmys? Are we at the Emmys? At the Oscars? And I like to give the biggest award. my shitty welded, badly welded piece of metal, scrap metal. Here's your Holocaust trophy. Dude, I like he's blocking out the star and it just says again. That's a scene right there. That just sums up the whole. Right there. There we are. Again. There we are. Yeah, the hype mogging says it all, dude.
Thank you very much.
Dude, where was Ben Shapiro? I missed that because I was looking at the chat. No handshake? Where's my hug?
Okay.
Dude, that's awesome. That was an own, honestly. That was Elon W. It's so funny. Elon W. Jewish let people say what they want. Since Jesus Christ, you've always tried to kill those who do not agree with you. It's cruel. You should cope with controversy and people opposition. This is very nice. ESL, but nice. Free Palestina. And just gobbledygook. Who cares? Gobbledygook. That's funny, dude. Anybody who doesn't get that was like a own. They missed the plot. They missed the plot.